Game week 4 VFL transfer targets and IGL picks. Let's dive into it. I'm TMV, and yeah, we're getting to that point in the season now where we're getting pretty late, right? Americas and Pacific teams only have 2 games left. So with that in mind, at this point, pretty much no matter what your team is, we're probably looking here at selling our Americas and our Pacific players for EMEA players, right? And so my general rule for you is going to be, if you have a high cost player that plays for any Americas or Pacific team and you don't like their game this week, you should probably be selling them, right? So for me, for instance, I've got 2 T1 players. I'm probably going to sell Buzz because they play RRQ and Talon next. And even though they're probably favored for both those games, will they definitely win both of those games? Not necessarily, right? Like, could they have a bad performance? Could they lose those games? Yeah, probably. So I'm probably looking at selling, right? I'm probably looking at getting rid of my T1 players, right? And that goes for really anyone you've got, because we should be looking now at getting in our EMEA players, because for those of you, if you are still unaware, you know, in game week 4, this is what it looks like. In game week 5, this is what it looks like. But because EMEA started a week later, game week 6 is going to be EMEA only. So you're going to want 8 players from EMEA. And yeah, it's really up to you in terms of who you go for. But you want to be selling basically anyone from APAC, anyone from Americas, and getting those EMEA players in. So yeah, if you don't, like, for instance, maybe you've got like a Sen player, right? And you're thinking, well, they play Loud, so I don't want to sell them because they're going to beat Loud, right? Like, that's fine. You can keep some of them, but basically just find your high cost player who you just don't like their matchup this week, essentially, and sell them for someone in the EMEA. So in terms of buying, who do you want to buy in EMEA? Well, if you want a cheaper option, I actually think that Giants are a decent choice, right? Like, if you have some Giants belief, they play Na'Vi, and then in the final week, they play Apex. Right, so that could be a decent pickup, right? This is a good entry point if you need like a cheaper EMEA option. Maybe you want to go for a Giants player, right? If you think that they're going to beat Na'Vi, which at least they have a decent choice to. Another cheaper options, maybe BBL. They play Koi this week. Could be okay. They do play Foot in the last week, so that's not ideal, but, you know, should be a win, hopefully, over Koi, and you're feeling okay about that. In terms of some of the bigger hitters, unfortunately, Team Heretics and Team Vitality both play each other. Right? Also, Team Liquid and Foot play each other. So in terms of like high premium picks that you want to go for this week, really there's only Fnatic. Like, why would you pick Foot or Liquid or Vitality or Heretics when you could take Fnatic versus Apex and then Giants the week after? Yeah, they've got a tough game in week 6 when they're on their own against Heretics, but now is the perfect entry point for Fnatic. They just beat Team Vitality. We've seen that. Now is the time to go and get in the Fnatic players. So you're probably looking for cheaper options for maybe a Giants, maybe a BBL. But if you want like a premium option, then I think it has to be Fnatic this week. Now, interestingly enough, when we look at the Fnatic players, the highest performing player is actually Crashies right now. Right? So, I mean, he only costs 8. Right? So he could actually be a pretty good player for you if you want. Will he keep this up? I don't know. Right? And actually, Althea is their lowest, you know, performing in terms of points per game right now. So, like, I do think there is a possibility that you think, okay, maybe you want to go Crashies if you want to really believe in it, but I do think that both Kayak and I do think that Alpha will bounce back. I think that Alpha might be decent cost, but even Boaster as another cheap option, I think we're going to see a lot of Fnatic transfers in. And in terms of IGLs as well, of course, you're going to want to bring in those Fnatic players because you probably might think about IGLing them against Apex this week, right? That's a good opportunity for them to potentially score, you know, some decent points. It should be a win for Fnatic at the very least. And so you're feeling at least decent about that, you know, you're going to get some good options there. As I kind of alluded to, other options in the EMEA, not great. It's probably just Fnatic. In terms of some of the other regions for IGLs, if you are keeping some players, right, Crew play EG, so your Kesnets still could be a decent IGL. Maybe didn't, you know, perform to the levels that maybe some expected versus 2G, but still, you know, it should be a good IGL against EG. It should be a win at the very least for Crew, and it's looking like a decent game. Again, maybe your Sens as well against Loud, not too bad. Your G2s versus Levs, you know, if you got any G2 players that you like, obviously Jorgmo went crazy in the last game, so, you know, against Lev, G2 looking top form, so maybe Jorgmo also always a good option. And I should also note as well, if any of you have like an Oxy, you know, against Furia, that seems like a potential decent choice as well. In Pacific, honestly, it's not quite as easy to find maybe that easy win, maybe you want to go Gen G versus Global, but Boom played DRX. You know, that's not an easy game. T1 play RRQ, maybe not an easy game. Maybe if some of you got Primi against Zeta, you know, you want to really go in for that. Okay, maybe. I mean, if you really want to go for Nongshim against Secret, you could, but I don't love that either. So yeah, you probably are more looking at Fnatic players this week. Maybe some Americas teams as well have some pretty favorable games. And so those are the transfer tips for this game week. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about my team and some of my plans. And now that we're getting towards the end of kind of, you know, the stages as well, I kind of have a formulated plan of where I think I'm going to go for the next 3 weeks, which I'll share tomorrow. But yeah, I had a pretty good week this week. I'm now up in the top 30. So hopefully I can finish first in this game that, you know, I've helped to create. And yeah, I'll be looking down upon all of you on the leaderboard when it's all said and done.